Now to election integrity in the upcoming midterms. In a new interview, Arizona's Republican nominee for governor, Kari Lake, would not promise to accept the results of the election if she lost. Lake is a staunch supporter of former President Trump's election fraud claims, which he failed to provide sufficient evidence of in court. This as Arizona's Republican Attorney General, Mark Brnovich, asks the FBI to investigate alleged fraud from a conservative nonprofit called True the Vote. He alleges the organization has raised substantial money on unfounded claims of widespread election fraud, possibly breaking federal tax laws. Let's bring in Democratic strategist Tim Hogan. He is working on statewide congressional down ballot and ballot measure campaigns in this election cycle. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Great to be here.
Tim, how exactly does election denial 2 years on become a strategy for an entire party in an entire state? Because that's basically what's going on in Arizona. Their entire strategy is to pretend like 2020 was a fraud, even though they have no evidence of it, and then to scare at least half the state, if not more, into voting for them by saying it's going to be fraud again.
Yeah, it's just something that the Republican Party can't let go of. I mean, Trump's own administration, his Department of Justice, his Department of Homeland Security said that the 2020 election was secure. How is this still something that we're talking about? You know, you have a conservative attorney general and Mark Brnovich, who is now recommending an investigation of this group. I mean, he ran for the U.S. Senate in Arizona in the Republican primary. He wanted Trump's endorsement. He is no liberal. So this is a real problem for the Republican Party. And you mentioned Kari Lake and that she might not accept the results of the election. There is no sore loser clause. If Katie Hobbs wins the election and Kari Lake loses, Katie Hobbs will be certified as governor. And just one thing that I think people are not paying enough attention to across the country in one of these more down ballot races are the Secretary of State races. These are the people who are actually going to administer the elections, who are going to count the votes. And you have someone in Arizona in Mark Finchem, who is an election denier, who is present at the Capitol on
Tim,
January
let me get in here. Let me set that up a little bit. Mark Finchem is the Republican candidate for Secretary of State. He is a staunch election denier, like even more than Kari Lake, pretty much. And then his opponent is Adrienne Bankert, who is the Maricopa County recorder. So he ran the election in Maricopa County. So please continue. You have those two facing off, but you have the potential for an election denier to be in the office that runs the elections in the state.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about a state where a full-blown constitutional crisis is a possibility, it is Arizona. You have Kari Lake at the top of the ticket, which, you know, her losing the gubernatorial race is critically important so that she doesn't have a platform any further to rise any higher. But you also have Mark Finchem, who is an election denier. He was at the Capitol on January 6th. He is proclaimed that he is a member of the Oath Keepers, which is an extremist organization. I mean, the Secretary of State's office is supposed to be a sleepy office that administers elections, that just guarantees that your vote is counted. But these MAGA Republicans have come out and weaponized it. And it's a huge problem. And look, on Friday, there's an organization, I Vote, they announced that they're going to spend $5 million in Arizona. That is unheard of in these races, that this kind of funding is going there, but it's critically important. It's the same group that helped elect Katie Hobbs in 2018, and they're trying to just get pro-democracy candidates who will count the votes to win across the finish line in 2022.
Well, Tim, you are a Democratic strategist here, so how do you counter that? Because you don't want to give more air to the lie here, but at the same time, you can't ignore it. And Katie Hobbs has said, I'm not going to debate Kari Lake because I don't want her to get up there on stage and lie to people. But how do you counter it when there is a significant amount of the electorate, especially in Arizona, that still believes it 2 years later?
Yeah, look, it's always a matter of emphasis, and there's so much to communicate on in this election cycle. You have folks who are who are the nominees of the Republican Party. You have to communicate on what happened with the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the Dobbs decision. And you need to explain to people where the economy is going and how their pocketbooks are going to be affected. So there are multiple fronts that you have to communicate on. But what I think is telling about this election is that you have states that are competitive, like Arizona, even though we have 2 Democratic senators there now, and you have candidates like Kari Lake pushing the big lie, and we know that that alienates independent voters. We know that that turns them off. And it's just indicative of where the Republican Party is at, that they are still under the thumb of Donald Trump, and they can't get out from underneath it.
All right, that's Tim Hogan. He's a Democratic strategist. Tim, thank you for joining us. And Marnie, I just want to say I worked in Arizona before I got here. I was covering the 2020 election in Arizona. They did a hand recount by bipartisan folks.
Right.
Okay, they investigated the paper and whether or not it had bamboo in it. They investigated whether or not Sharpies were used inappropriately. They investigated every single thing. It went in court. It went in front of a judge. Nobody has been able to find any evidence that there was any fraud that actually impacted the results of that election. But you still have folks that are pushing it, saying they have proof and not showing any.
And will continue to. All right, Mitch. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.